Hey everyone, this is John Trent. I'm your host tonight with boundingintocomics.com, and I'm joined by the ever charismatic Gary Buechler of Nerdrotic.
Hello. I don't know about charismatic, but I'm here.
You totally are charismatic. Don't downplay yourself.
Oh, jeez. Yes, covering Swamp Thing. The Swamp Thing, who's in the episode like 5 minutes, but the Swamp Thing.
He was
Interesting
in this
5 minutes.
He was in this a lot more than previous episodes, I thought.
That's true, but
Yeah.
we're getting deep into, like, we're halfway through now. This very short, unfortunately short season. And but yeah, this was an interesting episode. We get like some background on him. We get an introduction of a DC character, and both you and I didn't know it until like, wait a minute, what? But yes, a major DC character showed up tonight, but you wouldn't have noticed it by his look.
Yeah, not at all. So just before this, we were talking about his look, and I was telling you that I thought it was the guy, one of the woodsmen from last episode, the guy who actually escaped and didn't get attacked by that ancient virus. That's literally who I thought it was when he was like pulling up in his boat. It's who he looked like to me. And then all of a sudden, he's being very philosophical and teaching Swamp Thing the way of the forest.
The way of the forest, and I'm going to show everyone who it was. It was because again, you will not have recognized. We just got our here, let's make sure it's on me. There we go. Phantom Stranger showed up, which would have been cool if he looked like him at all. But yeah, he looked like a fisherman. Maybe it was the body positive, male body positive Phantom Stranger, but it was still,
He looked like Willie from Duck Dynasty.
He did.
Yeah. So he looked like.
He did. But it was still a pretty good episode, man. We got a little background on Abby, Arcane, and
a lot of background.
Yeah, a lot.
We finally figured out what happened with Shauna and how she died.
Yes, and we find out she was, not to bury the lead, she was pulled down. She was pulled under by something. We're not sure what at this point, but it's the swamp, and it seems like we've got multiple bad guys going on here. So there's
lots of bad guys now.
Yeah, and what really sucks is it looks like they were setting up, because they talked about, they planned out 3 seasons, and they were going to bring in everything from basically the Alan Moore run, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were going to bring in Constantine at some point.
Oh, there's definitely, they already said they were going to do they were going to lead up to Justice League Dark, so Constantine was definitely on the horizon.
Yeah, because Justice League Dark is probably the one thing from DC I want to see more than anything. Anything. It's I don't know. I like the supernatural superheroes. I like that mixture because I'm a Buffy fan, so I've always, even when I was a kid, I was reading Man-Thing comics and Son of Satan. Like these were, Ghost Rider. Those were all my favorite, Brother Voodoo, all that stuff was my favorite comics. Even Scarecrow. I don't know if you heard of the Marvel Scarecrow. Mm-hmm. He's a guy who came out of a painting, basically, or you walked into a painting and, Scarecrow would come and he was kind of a Ghost Rider type. He was only in a few comic books. But yeah, those were my favorite comics back in the early mid 70s. I was a wee young lad. So, Justice League Dark would be amazing. And the thing is, if we're going to get something like that, it's going to be on television. As you may know, we're not going to see anything like that in the movies because you can't sell that to China.
Well, they had the Justice League Dark movie, which I think, what's his name was supposed to be attached to it, the former Hellboy director, Del Toro. I think he was attached to it, and that's absolutely gone nowhere, and I don't expect it to go anywhere anytime soon. And I think that's what's so maddening about Swamp Thing getting canceled, and then even Constantine on NBC before that, is that these shows are like really, really good, and they have so much potential, and their audiences, like with Constantine, that their audience was growing every episode, and NBC decided to can it, and Swamp Thing got canned right out of the get-go. So it's just so mad, especially when they have good product.
They do, and it's becoming, now that we're decades into superheroes in Hollywood, it becomes clear every day that they don't understand, and they never will. And I talked about this God, I've done so many live streams, they're all kind of melding in on a live stream sometime, that bankers basically are making decisions for comic book and genre movies, and while they're pretty good at figuring out dramas and comedies, this is just an area they will never figure out, and their egos are too large to ask for help from people who could definitely help them. And and for whatever reason, I mean, that's never been the way in Hollywood. We're basically asking them to change their entire, what they do, their template. Fine. They go to marketing research companies that just tell them what they want to hear. And they do, focused screenings and stuff, but it's really focused on people who are generally going to tell them what they want to hear. And because the companies that set up these focus groups don't want to piss off the company that hired them. You see what I mean? So it's just this reciprocal thing of they're never going to hear the truth, and they are making like wildly bad decisions. Even within the narrative of Swamp Thing, there's still problems with it. Like, I like the show. I overall like the show, but you can see the current year 2019 stuff in there. It's very light, but there was a moment when the reporter takes out like this dude about 50 pounds more than her with like one hand. It's like, come on, it's like, it's stuff like that. It's like if she's holding a crowbar or something like that, then hits him. Yeah. Okay, fine. But it was a ridiculous moment and it was unnecessary. And
and we don't have no idea what kind of like training, like she talked about her background in the episode, that she went to like New York and was like a reporter, and then she left. We've never seen her get into any kind of physical confrontation besides that. And these two big dudes in ski masks come up, and she just like twists the guy's hand and like cripples him in like one move, and then the other guy just stands there. And I think what made that scene even worse is Blue Devil like runs up, and he like kind of just shoves the one guy out of the side and is like, "Are you okay?" And then he gets like whacked over the head with
belted
by the guy with the crowbar. It's like, oh, what are you doing?
Oh, and they better not be setting up Blue Devil, and then he's supposed to like come at the very, very end, which would really suck. Because I'm liking Ian Ziering. I'm liking him a lot. He's doing a really good job in this. Most people are. Even the reporter girl, when she wasn't like in this annoying scene, she's okay. I mean, she's not the greatest actress in the world, but she's okay. It was just this scene.
Yeah.
And then there was another scene with Jennifer Beals, the sheriff, and you could tell it's just so goddamn okay. The problem with the writing in Hollywood right now is male writers are afraid to write women, so they don't want to write women being scared of anything ever. Unless it's like it's hard. You just got to watch as much TV as I've watched. It's so ridiculous and so unrealistic, and it takes you out of what's generally really good. Like, there's very good people behind the camera, behind the scenes, writing for this show, like some of the best in Hollywood, and it's evident. And it seems like they have to bend the knee to whatever the hell's going on, and it takes me out of the episode a little bit, and it's starting to bug me. But like the Swamp Thing scenes, I wanted so much more. Even with the guy who was supposed to be the Phantom Stranger, but he's not, but he didn't look like him. He was still good. It was still a really interesting scene, and he's teaching the Swamp Thing like how to, use his powers. Well, I could have used a whole episode of that, to be honest with you. That was good. So he taught him how to listen to the trees, basically. And
I actually really like that.
That was great.
Because we were talking about that. The episode 4 had that spiritual part of Swamp Thing. This one had that philosophical part, and I just love how the show's able to add all of these different types of themes in, and it does it seamlessly. Like, it fits in really well.
It does. I mean, like, this thing is directed beautifully, and the sets. I mean, hey, you see where the money is spent. You absolutely see where the money is spent.
So one thing I want to say about the set, and I watched with my wife, and one thing that we both commented about, they're in the swamp. Have you seen one mosquito?
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Have you ever seen someone actually like even like swat their hand like they got bit by a mosquito? I don't know about you, but I'm here in Northern Virginia, which used to be swampland, and I mean there's mosquitoes everywhere, and I just go out to walk my dog, and I'm like swatting them off. So they're in a swamp. They got to be mosquitoes everywhere. So that's like the one kind of thing that we've picked up on. It's like, where are the mosquitoes?
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm nitpicking.
That's why I don't live down. No, that's why I don't live down there. I'm allergic to those fuckers. So
well, that's the reason why Ian Ziering doesn't want to be there. He wants to get out of that little small town.
Yep. But we did get to see. He's made a deal. We saw the Blue Devil mask for the first time, I believe.
Yeah, and it lit up.
And it lit up. He tried to leave the town, and that's how he burned his hand. Honestly, the most messed up scene though was the sheriff. The sheriff went out and this was a random scene, by the way. It was weird that it was put in here, but she gets called out to the rat boy, and apparently some rat guy, some dock worker, was a witness to Alec's death, or was the last person to see Alec, and he tells her by himself that it was your son. Your son was out there. We saw him on one of Avery Sunderland's boats, and so it was Matt who killed Alec,
according to this guy.
Who
was also trying to extort her. So, is he really that believable? I think that's what you're is that kind of what you're getting at? Is like this scene was just kind of thrown in there. They're trying to make out Matt to like be this villain, but we're supposed to believe this random guy who lives out in the swamp, who eats off rats and is trying to blackmail the sheriff.
And it really came like it didn't even fit in the episode. And I'm thinking, this is one of the reshoots. This is one of the reshoots to wrap up the ending. Remember, they had to cut off 3 episodes and end the series with 10 episodes. So they have to hastily write an ending. They were given a very short time to reshoot it. And this was definitely one of those reshoots. Cause I'm like, how did this, if you watch the episode, you just go, where does this fit in at all in what I was just watching?
And I don't know if you noticed, there was this one scene where I think they kind of did a reshoot too. It was at the end of where Abby came to meet Virginia Madsen's character, Maria Sunderland, and as she's like shutting the door, the camera like definitely went away from Maria, and then you had like the voiceover of her like adding a couple lines there to like try and add that in too.
So you search Brother Beast Boy, you searched Nerdrotic and this video came up. I shared it on Twitter. I should share it on my Facebook as well, but I didn't have a ton of time here, but I'll do that real quick. So that scene was out of nowhere.
It was.
Otherwise, it was pretty good. And at the end, so we have the little girl who's with Mrs. Sutherland is possessed. Susie is possessed by Shauna, their daughter. And according to Madame Xanadu, that is Shauna. But it's a twisted version of Shauna, who wants to bring mom out in the swamp because she's feeding off her grief. Although if she's feeding off her grief, why would she want to kill her? But
I don't think she wanted to kill her. I think the whole idea was to get Abby out there, so she could kill Abby. Because remember, Maria turns around and then tries to kill her, and then when she fails at doing that, that's when it seems like whatever had taken Shauna in that flashback scene was also going to take Maria.
Yeah, and whatever that is, who knows? But that got Abby out there, and Mrs. Sutherland survived, but the little girl was released by her, and there's something up with that little girl, obviously too. And
she's like a conduit.
Yep, and Matt comes out, of course, to save Abby when Abby went out there to save Mrs. Sunderland with Madame Xanadu, who just came out of nowhere. For a blind woman, she gets around really well. She just walks up there. She's all, "Hey, Abby!" It's like, this is the blind woman. What the hell?
I mean, it is Xanadu, so she's like tapped into like the mystical world. So I wouldn't. I mean, she's not obvious. She's she's blind in the physical sense, but I feel like she kind of sees. She has like obviously some kind of sight aside from like reading the cards. That makes sense.
And it does, but as these episodes go on, we're gonna start seeing the reshoots. It's gonna get obvious, and it sucks. It's not their fault. They're doing the best they can. Think about it. Like one of the best, one of the best superhero films of all time was like completely a zombie edit, basically, which was, for lack of a better term, was The Crow. They only had 3/4 of the film shot. Their actor died, but they figured it out. And maybe they'll do that with this show as well. But so far, it's been pretty damn good. And man, it just sucks. There's so little good out there right now. I was trying to think of even topics today for my Friday night podcast, and it's just like, it's slow news wise. I mean, dead slow, other than the Google stuff, which I'm not going to talk about tonight, but it's dead. So
yeah,
at least we have a good show to watch.
Yeah, I mean, Swamp Thing comes out Fridays. It's during the summer here. There, like you said, there's not really much else out. I mean, Swamp Thing is like the only thing I'm really watching. Amazon has an Ed Brubaker written show. Name escape. It's what is it called? It's like each episode is like an hour and a half. It's called Too Old to Die Young, I think is what it's called.
Wow.
And
never heard of it.
Yeah, it just came out on Amazon, I think, last week. And Ed Brubaker.
Yep.
So it's very, very like Ed Brubaker. The pacing might throw a lot of people off because it's very methodical and almost slow, but it's done on purpose. And it's got what's his name? Miles Teller is one of the main characters.
Yep.
And I watched the first episode. It was pretty good, but it is an hour and a half, which is not typical of your normal television show. And I think each episode is like that. So it's not just the pilot is like that.
That's interesting. Are they releasing that? Did the whole thing drop at once?
I think Amazon is doing like Netflix and they drop everything at once.
Yeah, it's not a good model. We already talked about that. Not a good model, but oh well. Interesting. So I'm just kind of, the thing is, the good thing about Swamp Thing is like, I don't entirely know what's going on, but I'm interested enough to stay in the story. They're keeping the mystery where it's not that predictable. Like whatever's in the swamp, who knows? It's cool that they are at least bringing in some DC characters that you don't recognize, but it's disappointing. I mean, come on. I don't think it's so hard if you got a giant green swampy thing talking, you can have a guy in kind of a tuxedo and a fedora with a cape. I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. I think that would have been much better to do. I just don't understand why, oh man, we're doing a Swamp Thing show, but we got to stay grounded, man. We got to stay grounded.
I think if they had actually used the Phantom Trainer's comic book costume, it would have had more significance, not just from like recognizing the character, but also like, holy crap, like this guy who doesn't like, who's like completely out of place is providing like some kind of guidance. Like he's obviously knows what he's talking about, instead of like this random dude who looks like he has no idea what he's talking about until you start hearing what he's saying.
Yep. Yeah. And it was, because the scene starts out with Swamp Thing's out there and there's a bunch of dead bodies around him. He's like, and he's trapped by the trees and I don't want to see this. And then it stops. And then there's some guy rolling up, listening to Roy Orbison, drinking some beer and just going, I love the swamp. It's a pretty place.
It was really odd.
No mosquitoes anywhere. Yeah. So it was odd, but it was cool. But we'll find out. I want to see Blue Devil. I don't want to see 2 seconds of the Blue Devil. I want to see like an episode of the Blue Devil at least. I think that would be cool as hell. And hail everybody in the chat, by the way.
They've been teasing him since the first episode. So, I mean, if we don't get a good payoff, there's definitely something wrong there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, actually, they kind of gave a spoiler with the music, with the key lyric was Sandman. Yes, they kind of did. I close my eyes, I go to sleep. That would be cool if they brought in Sandman. That'd be cool. You know what? Either version, to be honest with you. We can do a Golden Age, or I'd be okay with the Golden Age with the gas mask and stuff. That's kind of cool. I spent my Swamp Thing money on super chats. Said Blue Eyed Scorpio. You can always sail the high seas if you want. I don't think DC's going to care much longer. They're not going to say anything about their streaming service because they have season 2 of Titans coming out, and I believe the end of Young Justice is next week, 2 weeks from now, something like that.
Yeah, first week of July, and then they have Stargirl, and that's about it.
Stargirl is directed by Leah Thompson. Did you catch that? Freaking Leah Thompson from Back to the Future. I think that's cool. Whatever.
From what I've seen with Stargirl, looks really good.
That's good. So, good. Does anybody watch the Swamp Thing in the chat? Anybody? Because it doesn't seem like a lot of people watch it. And I haven't checked Parrot Analytics lately, and I should. Analytics for July. Let's see. June.
Chris says they are Chris, Seamus. They both watch. Charlie does not. Han Shot First. Loving Swamp Thing. Cinema Queen. Me.
It's not giving me a. Okay, here we go. Top. Okay. Boy, this sucks. Oh, it's for Canada. Who cares about Canada? Just kidding. Top 10 for Canada are Black Mirror, Lucifer, The Handmaid's Tale. Who watches that? Stranger Things, Doom Patrol, When They See Us, Star Trek Discovery's number 8. This is with their demand expressions. The Twilight Zone and Cobra Kai is below Star Trek. I find that hard to believe.
It's Canada. So in Canada, Star Trek Discovery is on Netflix, right?
It's on Space, which is like their regular cable or something like that.
So it's more accessible. So
what is Space? Sense. Yeah, is Space like cable for you guys, or do you watch it on TV? I know we got some Canadians around here. Television in demand for America. It's funny how SpongeBob like trounces everybody.
I saw
except
that
for Game of Thrones. Go SpongeBob. Yeah, it hasn't changed yet. So these demand expressions are, and the numbers are like ridiculous. So for instance, for Swamp Thing, it's 24,830,725. That's so that's people talking about it, good, bad, indifferent, but that's also every article that's written. And here's the deal with like articles, and you know this. The one thing, the reason I go to Bounding Into Comics is they write their own stuff. Like they don't. A lot of times, a lot of entertainment sites will take a deadline article, basically switch a couple of words around, like turn a the into in the or something like that, and call it their own. Bounding doesn't do that, but that's an expression. And then you get like Deadline will drop the big news, like Michael Chabon taking over for Star Trek or something like that, and then like 50 websites will run with it after that, with just like a slightly reworded thing. That's all expression, and then we share it on Facebook, and then that counts. And even if it's a guy who says, "I think this sucks. I think Swamp Thing is crap," that counts as a positive. That's like me assuming every click I get is somebody who watches the whole thing and likes it, which is not the case. I mean, just plain ass not the case. So I think that's a dumb way to judge. I think eventually these streaming services are going to have some kind of metric. I don't know. I don't think they'll ever release the numbers, but they're going to have some kind of metric, because once competitiveness, one of them will do it. I bet you one of them will come out and start like dropping numbers, which will force everybody else to do it. We'll see. You can't hide it forever though. When you're this competitive, you can't.
I think what it'll probably force that is investors, and in the investor calls, they want to know what the numbers really are and whether or not their investment is really worth it.
That's a very, very good point. Right now it's I forgot what the term for it is, but when, like in Silicon Valley, when a startup, back a few years ago, any startup was a unicorn or something like that. So they would get some investor who would just like come in and blast a bunch of money at them without asking a lot of questions. I think we're kind of in that period with the streaming services, or were maybe up till a few months ago. And it's going to be over quick. It's going to be over really quick and we're starting to see it. Swamp Thing. I mean, they pulled the plug on this thing so fast. And then they tried to blame it on a clerical error, which wasn't true.
Yeah, that was like some blue check guy was pushing that theory, and got quickly debunked. And I mean, the prevailing theory now is that it's creative differences, but we've heard from basically James Wan had no idea about it. He's an executive producer. Gary Doberman said it was like a gut punch when he found out the news, and he's an executive producer too. So all of these people are just like shocked that it happened, and they seem like they've been told a reason. They seem like everything I've seen, they seem like they haven't been told what the reason is. So they're just in the dark as well, which just seems really, really strange to me.
Well, we know what the reason is now. We absolutely know. J.J. Abrams signed a $500 million deal with Warner Brothers to produce exclusive content. He is going to take over the DCEU, and he pulled the plug on everything. They canceled San Diego Comic-Con. Like last minute. They pulled out of Comic-Con. They're shutting everything down. They delayed Wonder Woman. I mean, like, all the writing is on the wall. They're like, JJ's here. And at first it looked like, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name now. Guardians of the Galaxy was going to kind of run Gunn, which I'm sure Gunn might be involved creatively at some point, but I doubt it unless he works well with JJ. JJ generally just uses people, but maybe he'll use Gunn. Who knows? But no, it's really clear that JJ has torn through 2 franchises and he's licking his chops to get at another one. And at least he can't do any more damage to this one, I think. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. We'll see.
I mean, DC's brand, right, especially its movie brand, I feel like it's kind of in the tank. Although I did see an interesting story the other day that people were like, I think it was more on the comics, but people had a more favorable opinion of DC Comics over Marvel Comics. But the movie brand, I definitely, from the people I've heard, is definitely worse for wear. They have had hits, obviously, with Wonder Woman and I think Shazam and Aquaman, I guess, a little bit. Although I was telling my co-host on the Comic Vigilante on Wednesday, Jorge Arenas, that I don't know. Have you watched the Throne of Atlantis animated movie?
No.
Well, you have DC Universe. So if you watch Throne of Atlantis and then watch Aquaman, they're basically the same movie. One's just animated and one is live action. And I actually think the animated film did a better job story-wise than the live action film. But yeah, I mean, where like the whole idea of like Black Manta working for Ocean Master is like straight from the Throne of Atlantis animated film, and it was actually much better done. Like the submarine, like doing the attack on the Atlanteans, that's in Throne of Atlantis, to like try and like cause a war. The only thing that's kind of switched up is that Ocean Master actually like kills his mother in order to like usurp the throne to like get his way to because Atlanta is actually trying to stop the war and bring in Aquaman to save the war. So I thought that was like, it was just amazing to me that Throne of Atlantis was basically a ripoff of, or Aquaman was a ripoff of Throne of Atlantis.
Not surprised. And if you really think about the JJ thing, if you put some thought into it, he really likes his franchises. He really likes being on top of the world. And what's the one thing that's bigger than Star Wars right now? Much bigger is the MCU. The MCU is trouncing Star Wars. Not as much financially as it with public sentiment. So JJ probably
in general. I think the Avengers movies more so.
Well, the MC up until now, I mean,
yeah.
Talk to me in 10 years. I don't know. But like if we're talking right now, Star Wars hasn't been that good. And the MCU has been pretty damn good. Mostly good. It's not all of them have been great, but it'll after I fully suspect Spider-Man's going to do great. It's going to make bunch of money because it's still connected somewhat. There's some connective tissue to Endgame.
They're totally marketing it like this is the end of the Infinity Saga, and it's like, what is the Infinity Saga? You just made that up.
Yep. They did.
I don't think I've ever heard them use the term Infinity Saga until they were marketing Spider-Man and saying this is the end of the Infinity Saga. I'm like, what?
And does anybody trust the critics? We're already seeing all these reviews like this is the greatest Spider-Man. It's like, I heard that last time. I did. I seriously heard that this is the best Spider-Man movie. Yeah, Spider-Man 2. It's fucking
there's no competition, and I highly doubt that they'll ever be able to replicate the greatness that Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. I mean, it's too good. And I saw some BuzzFeed reporter was trying to like tease like there was like the post-credit scene is going to make you nostalgic for the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, and I'm like, the only thing that's going to make me nostalgic is if they're doing something with Alfred Molina and he's like doing like this voiceover for like
I heard
Superior Spider-Man or something like that.
I don't know if you want me to blast out what it is. I heard what it is, but I'm not sure if it's true.
Fire away.
Plug your ears, everybody. Plug your ears.
You don't want to get spoiled.
Again, I don't know if this is true. I read it on a Reddit thing, so that probably makes it very untrue, but it would be cool as F if they did it. And it's supposed to be J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, which would be that would be awesome because to me that is the most comic book accurate character I've ever seen on film.
Oh my god, it's so good. He's so freaking amazing.
He's perfect. So if they brought him back, that would be you really want to that would make a lot of fans happy. That would make me happy. I'm okay with him playing J. Jonah Jameson forever in any version of Spider-Man. I'm okay with that. I can stretch my imagination,
Yeah, that actually does make me nostalgic for the Tobey Maguire films because he was like the perfect casting of all time.
Dude, you know what? If they that rumor, if they actually made you can have the MCU going right now. If they actually made a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4 with Sam Raimi directing, it would freaking take all of my money. All of my money.
Even despite Spider-Man 3, hell yeah.
I would watch the shit out of that multiple times.
Especially if it was like Kraven the Hunter or something like that.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
And you could take so many risks. It'd be so cool. But
risks. That's something Hollywood doesn't do anymore.
I know. No, actually that's going to be the subject. Nice little segue there. Thanks. You didn't even know you were doing it for my Friday night tights.
I was going to ask you.
The main subject tonight is Hollywood is dead. It's just as far as blockbusters are concerned. Blockbuster films dead.
I don't know if we want to jump into this now, but I kind of took a personal day yesterday. I went to watch the Capitals development camp after the draft and see the new players on the ice. Obviously, I'm a huge Washington Capitals fan. If you didn't know,
but now I know.
Now you know. But I saw they dropped the Charlie's Angels trailer, and I watched that, and I was just like, it was just so bland, generic, and boring. And I was just like, I don't want to see this. This has zero interest to me. Who wants to see this? It was already like the trailer might have well just said bomb, because that's what it's gonna do at the box office. It's gonna bomb.
The Herminator and Charlie's Angels, which is a '70s property. So what we're doing is we're trying to get early aughts nostalgia from something that we already got nostalgia. So in the early 2000s, late 90s, the 70s were popular. So they're remaking 70s stuff, but now they're taking a remake that was in the early 2000s. And now we're going off to 2000s nostalgia. It's like a double nostalgia, double dip. And you can't do that. And nobody gives a crap about, and then Kristen Stewart is the sexy one. That's so funny. Oh, and it's just going to be, it's going to make $5. It's going to make $5.
Yeah, I really hope the production budget is really low so they'll be able to.
No, but I had the same feeling, and I think a lot of people did. I think I just saw that trailer and I'm like, that's it. I mean, I can't. I mean, it's done, man. It's cooked and done, and I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, what makes it even worse is that you have The Rock just drop the Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw trailer, and that's just so much more entertaining. Despite
yeah,
them like just giving away like what it's going in, well, like it gives you away like everything. But that's what Fast and Furious it does. They give you away. There's hey, we're gonna have huge action scenes. It's gonna be high flying, nonstop. There's gonna be some like witty banter dialogue. There's gonna be good chemistry between the actors, and there's gonna be Black Superman and Idris Elba. Like, let's go. I'm like, who
it's
doesn't want to see
ridiculous,
that?
and it'll probably work. Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is for the blockbuster to work, it's gotta be kind of really expensive and ridiculous, and that's not going to work every time. And Hollywood is not going to take that risk. And what's a Fast and Furious? I mean, what sequel is this? Are we on 9, 8,
So
9?
this is an actual spin-off. So it's Hobbs and Shaw is a spin-off.
Yeah, it's a spin-off, but
It's
it's
the
still a
first
sequel.
spin-off, but it's the 8th Fast and Furious movie.
Okay, so it's the 8th one. So this is the kind of stuff Hollywood used to parody in movies like Demolition Man, you know, like or like Rocky 47. They used to parody this stuff, and we're here now. We're in The Running Man. We're in Demolition Man. It's done. It's freaking done. And the future is what we're watching right now, and it's Swamp Thing. You know, you're going to have all that money is going to start getting shifted into event television. So instead of spending hundreds of millions on a 2-hour movie, it's better to spend the same exact amount on 10 episodes of something. I mean, it's a little riskier, but or it all just crumbles because
I think that's already happening. Game of Thrones, like HBO set the stage with that with Game of Thrones. Netflix is already copying it with The Witcher. DC Universe is, I mean, I think they have the hit here with Swamp Thing. Why they canceled it still baffles me. And then, I mean, Amazon is doing it. They're going to have The Boys, and they're going to have Wheel of Time, and they're also going to have the Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
So, I mean, Amazon is all in on this model. It seems like to me. Plus they have what's his name, Walking Dead. They have the Walking Dead guy. I can't remember his name right now. They have him signed long term now. They stole him away from AMC, so he's going to be bringing Invincible as well.
Kirkman.
Robert Kirkman. So he's bringing Invincible, and then he's also probably going to be creating his own original content there too. And that stuff's going to be good. And Millar's at Netflix.
It's at Netflix too, and we're getting a Kingsman.
Yeah. Jupiter's Legacy. It's all like going to be on Netflix.
That's going to be cool, dude. If they do that right. If they do a real Wanted, like the way they're supposed to do Wanted, which is a really twisted tale, to be honest with you. But yeah, Millar World, there's some good stuff. I wonder if they'd ever do Chosen. I doubt it.
Well, he's making new comics literally that are for Netflix to adapt. He's got I think they're
the Magic Order.
Magic Order.
Weird.
There's one that's actually pretty cool. I want to call it genius, but it's not. It's the main character is like a
Prodigy.
Prodigy, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Prodigy. I read the first couple issues. It was interesting. It definitely has like that movie feel to it, James Bond type to it. So I mean, I think there's definitely stuff there. But yeah, I think you're right on the mark there. Game of Thrones broke the doors wide open, and everyone's already copying that model. And we'll see if it goes bust or not here in the future. I don't think it will, given the fact that the companies that are investing in it are Netflix and Amazon, and they seemingly don't care about turning a profit. They care about expanding revenues and expanding their growth.
But the problem is, like, Amazon is the one that's in better shape, and we're going to get chat in a second. Is in better shape than Netflix because Amazon actually, has their store, has their own money, but there's still investors. Netflix is all investments based on their perceived value, which is, I mean, I think they started turning a profit. I mean, forever, Netflix wasn't making any money at all, which I find hard to believe, but they were also throwing just everything out and not promoting it at all. And that's not sustainable. They're not going to be able to continue that. So Netflix, I don't know. They're really far ahead. Amazon and Netflix are really, really far ahead as far as platform, like, streaming 4K, and it looks freaking beautiful. Like, even on wireless and stuff. But we'll see. We'll see. Charlie's Angels was never meant to be a spy thriller. I already said I know exactly I'll be watching in August. Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah, I'll be watching Hobbs and Shaw, and that's it. Like, remember when you used to watch, like, have almost every weekend pegged for the summer? It's like, okay, my summer's good. I got every weekend. So now it's like Marvel movie, and Men in Effing Black. Like, I wouldn't trust Sony for anything.
I think that's also gets to the point, like, where you're talking about Hollywood is dead. These reboots are all failing. Hellboy, Men in Black. What else just recently failed? That horror film. It didn't do, like, the Chucky movie. I think it probably made its money back because it's so low production, but it didn't do as well as what it should have. Toy Story 4 was the highest grossing animated film, but it didn't make what Disney thought it was going to make opening weekend. So you're seeing like these franchises are faltering that used to be like surefire wins.
No, because there's something they can't compete with at all that nobody talks about. That nobody. I mean, and then the platform screwing itself over, which is YouTube and Instagram. And okay, like the kids movie, the little kids market, which is what you're going for Toy Story 4, and parents and stuff. They're gonna have to start either making these blockbusters to watch at home, which that's what they're gonna have to start doing. Or
Netflix is already doing it.
And Netflix is already doing it. And these, we need a Beast Boy movie. An epic tale that starts off in the jungle and then takes us to the poop-filled San Francisco, where he joins the Teen Titans. I think
that's where I was reading. I'm in this Titans Facebook group. I think that's where the Titans tower is going to be. I think it's in California somewhere, and it'll be in season 2. If anyone cares about that.
Matt Joseph says, Gary, I can confirm or deny the Spider-Man end credits rumor. Saw it earlier today. Well, I'll confirm it or deny it then.
Matt, let's go.
Matt, come on, let's know. Do it. Hobbs and Shaw looks fun as hell, and I'm Gatham for Statham. Okay, I'm big time Gatham for Statham. I like Jason Statham. What was it? The fucking the Driver movies. I love that.
I love those too.
God damn.
He has to like keep his adrenaline go. Oh no, that's
Crank.
Movie.
Crank was good. I loved Crank
too. Yeah. But yeah, the Driver movies are really good.
I don't know why I'm blanking on it, but you know what I mean. The ones where he's driving.
Yeah.
The first one, it's great.
Yeah, Transporter.
Luc Besson, the Transporter. Luc Besson. Anything produced by. I got to see Anna now. I didn't even know Anna was directed by Luc Besson. He's like one of my favorite directors of all time. So Transporter. Thank you.
Did you watch that recent? It was a comic book movie that Besson. Is it Besson? Confirmed. There we go.
Yes, that's awesome. That's brilliant. And Paul Rudd, but he's going to be in Ghostbusters, but he's not going to be a Ghostbuster.
Is he? Wow. I don't know. He's a teacher.
Yeah,
what were the?
He'll be one.
What were the Ghostbusters originally? They were professors. They were teachers. So
I'm thinking the OG Ghostbusters are going to be only in it for a little bit.
Well, it's got to be a passing of the torch.
Passing of the torch. Yeah.
Which is what Terminator is going to try and do, and that spells bomb too, unless they have a new trailer that's going to like completely wow me. But that looks like another one that's going to go down the drain.
Somebody was kind enough to get me send me a way to watch Shaft, so I will be doing that this weekend. Because I don't know, it's so dry right now. There's like nothing to make. You can't force a video. I can anyway. I'm not just going to make a video about anything. And it's like, I'm like, wow, man. So
you must have missed.
I'm rearranging my office.
You must have missed our article today. Star Trek Online pulled. I
saw that.
Yeah, they just launched this new thing, and they had a horn, literally from Dukes of Hazzard, with the Dixie song on it.
Playing the Dixie song. I heard it. I don't know if I can craft a video out of that. That's something I'll talk about on Friday night, but it's stupid. Yeah, they pulled it down because of it's problematic. It's problematic.
It's an iconic freaking horn sound. Like, it was in the game as a horn for your ship, based off of the Dukes of Hazzard, like literally a Dukes of Hazzard reference, and like someone whined about it because it's like it was a battle song during the Civil War.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Let's
just forget the Civil War ever happened. I mean, we'll just forget about it, and I'm sure nothing bad will come of that. Yeah. So Cinema Queen saw Anna, said great concept, but not executed well. Yeah. Yeah, I saw scenes of it.
Horror film? Is that the
no? Anna's a spy. It's basically a supermodel becomes a spy. It's basically Black Widow again, and I think people are kind of over.
Yeah.
Like in the 90s, the supermodel kicking a lot of ass was like really cool and new and fresh. And I think now we're like, okay, girls are awesome. They can kick some ass.
I feel like we've seen that movie too many times already. What was the like Salt? Wasn't there something like Salt?
And there was just the
Jennifer
one with
Lawrence was that Russian
Atomic Blonde.
Yeah, Atomic Blonde.
It's like okay, I got it.
Yeah,
we get it. There is a Doctor Who thing. I don't know if I could stretch a video out of it. There's a pretty dumb Doctor Who article came out today. I'll put it on my live stream. We'll see how people like it. Let's get over here. That is cool about J. Jonah Jameson, though.
I'm probably will go see it just for that now.
I'm getting a Joker and Harley Quinn tat on the 3rd. Does that count for anything? Blue-eyed Scorpio, it does. It makes you cool. No, if you're happy with your tattoo, I'm, I know it's probably, I'm getting so old, or it's probably like not cool to have a tattoo. I'm sure it's because I remember when it wasn't cool to have a tattoo. I actually got one when it wasn't cool to have a tattoo. It's been a while, but can't change my mind on those now. But yeah, go ahead and get them. They're fun. Salt was amazing. Atomic Blonde was bad. I did not like Atomic Blonde either, Cinema Queen, but a bunch of people did.
I completely skipped it. So
it was.
I don't think I missed out.
They when they do movies like that and they want them to be grounded and real, you have to find a way around how the 150-pound woman can beat 5 300-pound guys. Now, if she has a gun and they don't, done, easy, she wins. But when she doesn't and she's killing him with high heels, okay, 1 or 2, yeah, I can totally see 1 or 2 of them dying. All 5, I don't know. I don't know. Does she have superpowers? Okay, then it's explained. Like she has, explain it within the film, like amp her up power wise or something like that. That's fine. All my tats are nerdy tats, says Blue Eyed Scorpio. I just meant because I didn't add to the Swamp Thing conversation. You just did.
You just did, yeah.
You're here. That's fine. You don't know. We just like talking. It's okay.
Sounds like you should get a Swamp Thing tat around the Joker and Harley tat. It sounds like.
What I'm bummed about is like I had sold my Alan Moore Swamp Thing collection at the shop, and I'm like, I want it back. So I found a guy who had all except for the key issues. He had all the key issues taken out, but he was selling me the whole thing for $95. I'm like, sweet. So I bought it for $95 on eBay. I got sent an empty box. So he sent me. Yeah, he sent it media mail. Don't ever send anything media mail because they open it up to inspect it and shit gets ripped off all the time. The post office is filled with a bunch of crooked people. So you're not supposed to send comic books media mail. Don't ever send because there's ads in them. And even though the ads are old, you're not supposed to send anything with ads and they will send it back. So I ended up getting an empty box. That guy lost out on the comics. And I had to get my $95 back. I got an empty box. Sorry. I mean, that guy lost out. So,
wow.
Yeah, so if anybody's got a set of Alan Moore Swamp Things they want to sell, I'm in the market. But I did get, this because I want to reread it, and I don't like trades. I like reading the actual comic books. So
yeah, we had this discussion last week. I'm at the point where I'm just like, I just want to just give it to me in a collection. So
yes,
I mean, you're reading it like a collection, anyways. You're just reading them in the floppies all at once.
I need the smell. Dude, the smell. I freaking, it's the greatest smell in the world. It really is.
I mean, you get a good smell from a trade too.
If it's an old trade, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't like trades, dude. I just don't. I never have. I mean, I own some. Okay, I do. I don't
not even like deluxe hardcovers or anything like that.
Oh, no, that's not a trade. Okay, now
we're talking. Well, you're just okay. So you're talking about just the regular like trade paperback.
If we're talking this, dude. Hang on. Like this. Now we're talking. Like this is the shit.
Oh, what was that? Was that Sandman?
This is freaking EC Artist Edition.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have the Sandman.
Is that from IDW?
Yeah, it's
that's an artist edition.
They're
that big.
It's EC. Yeah, it's supposed to be the size of their original art pages. I'll open it up for you. Hang on.
Oh my gosh, I never knew the artist.
Makes me feel like
I'm that big.
Don't I look like I shrunk when I'm reading a book?
Yeah, like oh my gosh,
I look like a little man.
You need to like take that to a library and like start story time.
So I think what inspired these is the Little Nemo. If you guys have never heard of the Little Nemo comics that were basically comics in the fucking early 1900s and stuff, they put them in a book like this about 15 years ago, and I think it inspired IDW to do it. These are awesome, man. I mean, they're hard as hell to store.
Yeah, I didn't know they were that big. Holy crap.
They're freaking beautiful. And so there's different ones. There's artist editions, which means they couldn't find the complete book. And then there's ones where they found all the pages to scan. They found all these collectors and stuff. And dude, IDW was living off these things for a while. These were funding all of their crappy comics and their SJW bullshit for a while. And it sucks because that's the best thing IDW's ever done. No, I have a bunch of them. I love those. The thing is, you got to have a bookshelf to carry, which is but they're expensive. You got to buy them when they're out.
How much did it cost?
They're when you buy them brand new, I think they're $100, $125.
Yeah, I think I think it varies depending on what it is, but I've seen some that are like 150.
Yeah, there's 75 to 150. It depends on how big it is.
Yeah. I've seen some Kirby ones that are 150.
Gary's a hobbit. Yes, I look like a hobbit when I'm reading that book. I'm actually 6 feet tall, so I'm not short. But I'm not super tall either. Salt was good. I like Salt. It was okay. I watched it. I mean, Angelina Jolie's, freaking amazingly hot. So,
Charlie Chan asks, how worried are you about Amazon's Lord of the Rings?
Very, extremely. I think it, when I hear the code phrase, it's not the history you think you know. And I've heard that for the Game of Thrones prequel and for Lord of the Rings. That worries me.
That's not a good sign. Are they also said like modern interpretation?
In other words, I mean, listen, they're going to have to make it more diverse. Okay. They can't have the Tolkien. It's not going to be Lily White. Okay. So we're going to have, black elves and stuff. And that's fine. Whatever. As long as they don't like super sexualize the story. That's the only problem. I don't need to know who's sleeping with who in the Tolkien verse because it's never really referenced. There's like one reference to a romance, and we're talking about the books here, and we're not talking about the movie. Like there's stuff in the, but it's gonna be off the second age. Okay, so the age prior. No, I think it's gonna be the War of the Ring, the original War of the Ring. Isildur. I think that's what they're doing, which will be interesting. I mean, if they do it right.
Yeah, that would be good. I'd watch that.
I'd watch that. I'd definitely watch that. And you can see, Sauron like actually in all his glory. Yeah.
Legolas will be a pixie instead of an elf.
Yeah. They'll be we'll get to see Elrond. Elrond will be in it probably unless it's just the second age. Then I have no idea. I've heard different things.
That's gonna be, oh man, if they do like Elrond, like that Hugo Weaving played him, right? And that's gonna be tough to top Hugo Weaving.
They will throw in a gay handicapped orc. Well, you want to get them all checked off with one character.
Isn't that a goblin? Aren't those like the goblins, like handicapped orcs?
No, they're gonna make it. And IO9 and Mary Sue are gonna talk about like how they're shaming orcs and orcs are orcs too. Orcs lives matter. And it's gonna be bad.
Because you can't have bad guys just being bad guys.
You can't.
I'm kind of worried about The Witcher that same way. They've already kind of done it with the casting, like you're talking about.
Oh, and the writing staff too. I mean, the writing staff has been like just a peach on
Histrick or whatever, and then they did the they did like the whole like we stand with some. They had some kind of like political stance that they all did.
Yeah, because I really care about people who write for make believe what they care about things. I don't.
Yeah.
Just write your make believe and make me happy.
Yeah. So I'm kind of nervous about Wheel of Time now too, because Wheel of Time was like one of my favorite book like fantasy series, like all through high school and into college when Sanderson was taking over. And the fact that they're saying that it's already like there's already like statements about like the story about the women is so what is the I forget what she said, but it was like it's so essential today or something like that, or so relatable is what they said. And I'm just like, dude, the Aes Sedai were like not trusted at all by anyone in their society. They were like viewed as like almost like bad people. I was like, did these people like not read the books?
They probably didn't. And I heard the Wheel of Time is gonna they're gonna switch it to a female lead.
So they cast Rosamund Pike as Moiraine,
and
the Modred.
They're supposed to be focusing on her, and I am just starting the audiobook like right now, like in the last week. So
she's not the focus at all, though. I mean, she plays like a key role, but the focus is on the three men. And
apparently they're going to be switching that. So,
gosh,
that's what I just read at one place. It doesn't make it a fact.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, Rosamund Pike, they cast Rosamund Pike as Moiraine, and then she's got like a producer credit too. So
I want Goosebumps streaming service show that an anthology, but not for kids. I want scary, says Cinema Queen. So you want a Tales from the Crypt just all the time. There's a streaming Shiver. Is it called Shiver? The horror streaming service. It's out there. I heard it's okay. I heard it's pretty good.
That's so getting back to Swamp Thing there real quick. That's a good segue. I didn't find that there was a lot of like we had the body possession in here, but I didn't feel like that was kind of horror-y, and there weren't any really like jump scares. I guess there was the one where like Susie turns into Shauna, but like they had already like kind of done that with Shauna in the bathtub, so I didn't really there wasn't as any like the jump scare like moments weren't as good as previous episodes.
They weren't. See, the thing is, the Abby, the character, the woman playing Abby is believable because she gets like scared sometimes, but yeah, it's actually the only thing that's bothered me is the reporter girl just kind of stands out as I think she's there as kind of I don't know what she adds to the story. What Hollywood has been doing lately is they'll write something traditionally for a man and then they'll cast a woman. That's been they've actually talked about how they're doing that. They're casting women and not rewriting it. They're just casting women. And actually Legion got away with this pretty well with Aubrey Plaza as Lenny, because Lenny was supposed to be a 50-year-old guy. And you could tell this reporter and the sheriff were both written as men, and then they decided to cast women, and then they still act like men, which is weird. I mean, I know what's kind of behind that. I don't know if we really want to get into it, but it's weird. And it doesn't work, by the way. It's working in this show because their characters aren't that important. And they have, for the most part, like Flashdance is pretty good actress. She's a good actress. She was good. She was really good in that awkward scene, where she takes out Rat Boy. And there's just quality people involved in the show, so it overshadows some stuff. But Doomcock was talking about Doomcock got taken right out of the show. He said he said it was a bit too woke for him. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I can understand why people.
Tremaine's character.
Yeah.
So you didn't like the kissing scene?
Yeah. I don't think he cared about that. I think he's just more into like Sunderland being cucked, and he got cucked again this episode where he was like the one left in bed going, where are you going? And it's like, God damn it, this guy's supposed to be the big bad. And so there's like little things that are chipping away, but then the Swamp Thing comes on the screen and I'm totally fucking happy because that looks so goddamn good.
That whole like scene in the bedroom, I felt that was like needless. What was the point of that? Didn't really add anything to either of the characters. We already knew that they were kind of like romantically involved. I guess it was just to make him look even more sleazier.
Yeah,
and then make him
he's pretty sleazy.
Yeah, But then at the end, what wasn't there the scene at the end with Avery? Like someone was telling Avery, like you are always been in charge or whatever. You're always the one calling the shots. So like the whole like we were talking about that last time too. Like the whole point of him being like cucked by his wife, like taking the money away. That they basically have like gotten rid of that already.
Yeah.
Because he's still calling the shots, and all it took was getting involved in child trafficking.
That's all. And then he tore apart a turtle too. Poor turtle for turtle soup, which they cook all the time here. If you walk around if you get past the tourist part of Chinatown and you get down to the markets and stuff, and you see the turtles floating around and for the turtle soup, I don't like turtles. I like turtles. I don't like to eat them. Shutter. It's called Shutter. Sorry. Shiver, Shutter. What's the difference?
They're synonyms.
Shutter. So Shutter sounds probably stronger and scarier than Shiver. That's the streaming service. But it's time for I got to roll, man, because I got to get ready for my next one. But
all right,
we'll be back next week on my channel.
Yeah, we'll be back on Nerdrotic's channel next week. We'll be talking about episode 6. I don't have the title in front of me. I'm sure they announced it already. Hopefully, we'll get to see some Blue Devil and more Swamp Thing.
And maybe if they bring in another DC character, it'll be it'll look like him instead of body positive Phantom Stranger, which was a little disappointing. I gotta say.
I think my biggest disappointment is that we might have had Zatanna, and we're not gonna. They're still.
They wouldn't make
her girl there.
Yeah, they won't make her look like they'll put her in like cargo pants and.
Well, have you seen that new redesign on the comics?
Yeah,
I've heard from artists that like DC actually has like a policy where they can't like draw her in her like iconic outfit anymore.
And they're gonna be really disappointed when nobody buys the comic.
Yeah.
They're gonna go. Did they buy it for the fishnets? Yes.
Yeah. Dynamite learned that lesson the hard way with all Vampirella and whatever the other one is that I can't think of. Red Sonja.
Red Sonja and Deja Thoris.
Yeah, and Deja, yeah.
Dude, the only reason people read Deja Thoris is because it's a really hot woman in a bikini running around Mars kicking some ass.
Literally Princess Leia from Return of the Jedi.
Yes. For issue after issue after issue. Yeah. Yes. So the next week's episode is The Price You Pay while Swamp Thing finds a new way to communicate with Abby. Matt learns the truth about Alec Holden and Avery pressures Woodrow to deliver results.
Okay, that's really interesting. Matt learns the truth about Alec Holland. What truth? See, that makes me think that Rat Boy was just trying to get some money, and that scene is just like really, really like sticks out now, even though it's like one of those. Reshoot scenes that we think was a reshoot.
I think everybody knows who killed Alec Holden. If you read the comics, you'd probably kind of know. But we'll see. They might change it. So it's cool. Take it easy, everybody. Friday Night Tights is next. It's an hour to my channel. Please go to Bounding Into Comics. Read it often. I read it every morning. It's the first thing I click on and take a look over. And actually, when I start doing my weekly Patreon streams again in the morning, that's the first thing we're going to be doing every morning is going over Bounding Into Comics and the entertainment rags. No problem, dude. It's you're the only thing you and Bleeding Fool and Cosmic Book News and Star Wars, Disney Star Wars is dumb, or like the only things I can read now without having a mini aneurysm or we'll get through this. I just want to if any of my fellow YouTubers are listening, don't panic. So this is like the slow time of year. Kids are out of school. The ad rate goes way down. So there's not as many ads running. And the algorithm feels like it's, everybody's freaking out right now. It's like, this happens every summer. It'll pick back up again in a couple months. Enjoy it.
It'll pick back up next month with San Diego Comic-Con. There should be a lot of announcements, although Sony and Marvel seem like they won't have, or Sony won't have a Hall
Sony
H.
backed out.
Yeah, that's what the latest
Yeah, I'm
reports
going to
are.
talk about that tonight. But there's plenty of well, there's a replacement for that though. Like you're not going to miss them, believe me, because there's other stuff there. So, and we're going to talk about that. Like Amazon basically taking over.
Yeah, which they are. So get ready. The boys are coming.
The boys are coming, and yeah, they're going to show 2 episodes there that weekend. The one I saw and a new one. Yeah, I can't you get that? Did you get any press credentials?
So
they must not like you.
I mean, I send so many emails I've sent so many emails to try and get on like press lists and stuff like that. It just takes forever, even though we are like a pretty decent size. We have a pretty decent sized audience. So
love or hate you people know you. People know I mean, like Bounding into Comics is known. Okay, how many people do you have following you on Facebook? 25,000.
Yeah, 250,000.
No, sorry, 250,000.
Yeah.
Like I only have like 1,500 people following me on my Facebook.
Yeah, you got what's your YouTube though? You got like 115 now. Where are you at?
Almost 107.
You'll be at 115. You'll be at 115 by the end of the year, or even by the end of the summer.
Yeah, we're growing. I mean, it's like ever since I talked about the Google thing, it's been a little slow. That was curious. I found that very curious, but it hasn't.
Oh, you know what that is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still growing, so it's as long as you're in the as long as you're in the positive, it's a good day.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm gonna take a little time. I'm probably gonna live stream more, and I'm gonna So the little change in format on my channel is I'm gonna take more time on some videos because I really want to do Star Trek Discovery Season 2 like legit review, which will take me a long time to make. I'm deep into it, by the way. I'm about a quarter of the way done, where I'm getting in the weeds and pointing out everything dumb about Season 2. Basically.
So it's a full video on
it's gonna be about an hour and a half long.
Okay. Yeah. Woo. Oh man. There you go. Who needs to go see Men in Black when you can watch Gary's Star Trek Discovery Season 2 review? Charlie's Angels
inspired me. Yeah.
Go away.
Then Doctor Who Season 11's right after that, and then Captain Marvel. I'm gonna get into Captain Marvel because
that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm gonna probably want to review something good after that. So hopefully the Expanse will roll around and please hurry, Expanse, please hurry.
The boys, man, the boys will be here in July.
I want a goddamn cameo. If they they have to get to I think season at least 3 for my character to come in. But I want a cameo. I carry some. I'm a warehouse worker for Vought. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Gary will be on Late Night Tights. Is that correct?
Friday Night Tights, Friday Night Lights. It's Friday Night Tights.
Friday Night Tights on his Nerdrotic channel. Join in. That'll be happening in how long?
40 something minutes.
So 10 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Pacific.
That's right.
Be there, be square.
Right, joined by Josiah Rises and Comics Division. See ya.